Hello, everyone. Welcome to Time for Emerging Markets, Doers within Emerging Markets. I'm here with Tian Shi, the author of Exceptionally Average Through Their Eyes. It's such a pleasure to have you here. And thanks for being here, actually. And please, can you just tell us a little bit about yourself and so start that way.
Perfect. Thank you so much for having me and thank you for your time. So my name is Tian Shi and I am currently a student at Georgetown University. I study biology and cognitive science with a certificate in entrepreneurship. I grew up in Australia but went to boarding school in Western Massachusetts and now I live in San Francisco and go to school in DC. So I have a bit of experience growing up from all over the world. When someone asks me where I'm from, I just kind of pick a place and just stick with it. So it's a bit about me and my background.
That's pretty cool. I love the fact that uh, you've had the opportunity to be in different continents. I think with some, as a result of that, there's some diversity that comes with that, diversity of experiences. So thanks for sharing that. Uh, Now going into you say you're at Georgetown University. Just tell us a little bit about your experience there and kind of maybe give us an idea of how you got in meeting Professor Eric Koster and how that led
Mhm.
to you writing the book.
Of course. So going to Georgetown, Georgetown was one of my favorite universities when I was applying to college. My dad was kind of skeptical on me getting in. So when we toured the university, I
Yeah.
said, Dad, I absolutely love it here. He said, oh yeah, it's like not great, but it's okay. He just didn't want me to love the university too much in case I didn't get in. So I did get in, and to everyone's surprise, I chose Georgetown to commit to for my collegiate years. And stepping onto campus, I remember the first day, it was summer, and I just remember I'm so lucky to be here. I'm definitely going to take advantage of all the opportunities that were given to me because against everyone's expectations, I was supposed to get in. And so that's kind of why I ended up writing a book because when quarantine first came around, I had a lot of time on my hands. It was too much time. So
Yeah.
I was just kind of like exploring, like checking my emails too much. And
Yeah.
then Professor Coster reached out to me by email. He said, Tian, do you want to be a published author?
Yeah.
And I didn't know who he was. I didn't know the program. And I did my research. I asked a couple of friends. I said, "Is this real? Is this fake? Is this a scam?" But all my friends are like, "You should do it. It's a really cool experience." And I ended up doing it with one other friend, and it's been a very, very rewarding but time-consuming and grueling and difficult experience. But it has taught me so much about the world of entrepreneurship and what it means to be an author and what it means to be truly passionate about something that I want to do.
Congratulations. It's a really it takes a lot of discipline, right?
Mhm.
Just saying, I'm currently in that program as one. There has to be some laser focus, but also just like you have to really do a lot of reflection and kind of that orientation and coordination is really critical. So um, it's quite impressive. So
Thank you.
just going into that, you're welcome. Just going into that, just give us an idea why you decided to write this particular book. I mean, the title of the book is very appealing, it's very captivating, and it just makes me really excited. Like, once I say title, I would like to buy the book. Just give us an idea why
Thank you so
I decided
much.
to write the book.
So, I would say that I am no standout in any sense. When I do something, I am good at it, but I'm never the one that people remember me doing something for. So I that kind of inspired me to write the book because people who do make change, people who are remembered, aren't usually the ones that are the best in the classroom or get first place at a competition. They're the people who you remember because they helped you, they mentored you in a tough time, they were there by your side throughout your experiences. So I just wanted to understand what it means to be exceptional while being average, while just being like everyone else. So that's the title, Exceptionally Average. And I have always been interested in entrepreneurship but I didn't know what it means to be a founder, what it means to be an entrepreneur. So that really brought up the idea of I should really explore an industry that I'm interested in and kind of understand what my future would bring me, which is why I ended up writing a book, Exploring Entrepreneurship, with this title.
That's a great why. Very compelling story, and also I think the title speaks for itself and reflects who you are. As you mentioned earlier, just like growing up in different areas, I think that actually shows um, a lot about you through this book. From my perspective, and also the fact that I couldn't. I mean, people didn't anticipate that you get into Georgetown and you finally end up finally end up there. It's amazing. Can you just share with us, how, I mean, what was the experience and the process like, going through, like putting together all the elements of this book? And maybe share a little about the Creators Institute and how that kind of helped you onto this moment. I know you had your final, 2 days ago, you had like your final, was it the promotion or the book? Just give us an idea of what it was, and that'll be
Of
helpful for
course,
the
of course. So I started this process back in late May of 2020. I decided to write a book, so I went through the initial ideation phase of understanding what it takes to write a book, what I want to write a book about, something that inspired me. And through that phase, it took around a month for me to develop my idea. And I went through the initial outreach phase of finding the people I want to interview for my book, understanding their stories, listening to their stories. And then I would interview everyone who I wanted to interview in the morning, maybe 1 or 2 a day. And then in the afternoons, I'll take 3 or 4 hours, write up every single interview. And then at night, I'll scour the internet for more people that I wanted to interview. So the morning process, the afternoon process, night process went on every single day for 3 months. So it took around 10 hours of my day, aside from like hanging out with my family and then working out. It was my entire life for 3 months during the summer. And by the end of the summer, from early September to late September, I had finished the rough manuscript of my book. It was around 50,000 words and I was okay with it. But then I went through the marketing phase, which is trying to understand what my book is about so I can sell it to my audience and develop a pre-reader audience. And that process took a month, which is filming a video from my iPhone, sending it to the marketing team, making a script, kind of showcasing my book. And then I undertook the marketing phase, which is pre-selling my book. That meant sending out 200 to 300 messages a day on all of my social media, telling every single person that I'm writing a book and asking them if they'll be able to support me in my book writing process. And it was a very, very difficult journey for me just because I went off all social media for 4 months. So having to re-download everything and relearn how to send a message and how apps work,
That's so funny.
it was a strange experience being someone who's like 21 years old who's supposed to be on their phone. I felt
Yeah.
very aged.
Yeah.
And after talking to a lot of people and trying to finalize my idea, I decided that I need to shift my book. So initially, my first manuscript was focused around servant leadership. And I realized that I was tackling a lot. I was trying to address too many things in my book. So I decided to pivot my book and try and showcase what it means to be an entrepreneur through unconventional stories, which is where my book is now. So I spent 4 weeks as of yesterday rewriting my book. And now my book is completely rewritten. It's at
Oh,
30,000 words. And I have, during this process as well, I sent out probably 1,500 emails to institutions around the world, around the country, with entrepreneurship departments and MBA programs that specialize in entrepreneurship. And I've gained a lot of support from those institutions on my rough manuscript to solicit their feedback to make my manuscript as the best it can be before it is published. So right now, it's a whirlwind of conferences, of rewriting my book, writing out weekly newsletters, share my manuscripts, talking to people, and being a student.
oh man, that's it's, I'm sure and I'm certain the hard work will pay off because just based on kind of the process and the hard work you put into it, And I think people will see that, as they read the book. It's something that actually people you kind of translate to the audience, and um, I'm really inspired by just listening to you talk about the process. I know it was growing, but it shows that there was a very high level of commitment there. So thanks for sharing that. I think it gives people a
I
perspective of
appreciate it.
right. So just going to the next question, can you just tell us some of the people in the book? You have mentioned like you wanted to showcase the what entrepreneurship is through the lens of these people that seem average, but they're exceptional in their own way. Can you just give us some of the people you talked to in the book and how that channeled the theme or the why of why you wrote the book?
Of course. So my book focuses on unconventional stories, as I mentioned before. Um, most of the people I interviewed are immigrants, minorities, people of color, women, and college dropouts. So I want to hear stories of people who you usually wouldn't hear about before. So two names come to mind. So the first story that I'll share with you, his name is Chadwick Frimpong. He grew up in Ghana at a small rural village, and he didn't know he was going to be an entrepreneur. He thought he was going to be a regular cocoa farmer like the rest of his family before him. None of his parents went to college or even high school. And an experience changed him and his worldview because in one afternoon, he decided to go for a swim in a nearby river. But then he got an infection and he was rushed to hospital, but that hospital ride was 5 hours away on a borrowed van that his parents had to forfeit their cocoa farm for because they didn't have enough money to pay for transportation. And seeing all the hard work that his parents put into his livelihood, he decided that if he should survive the infection without amputating both of his legs, he will put in all of his efforts into creating a better world for him and giving back to the people who have helped him. That really changed his outlook on life, which made him become a thorough academic. He won one of the only scholarships in the world to UPenn, and he was able to take his knowledge that he achieved at UPenn, environmental studies in biology and in architecture, to back to his village to create the first farm for profit farm and school for students who weren't able to achieve an education before he was there. So he was a social entrepreneur who was able to use his passion and use his knowledge to directly benefit his village and create education for girls and a hospital for people who did not have it before.
It's
That
amazing.
was, it's
That's
an
amazing.
incredible story. It's truly inspiring.
Yeah.
And it really shows how much you can do for your family and community should you put your mind to it.
Yeah. No, by the way, Shadrach, I actually used to follow him when he was in UPenn, and he was one of the people that we talk about in this like Africans in diaspora circle as a role model for young kids in Africa who can uh, look at challenges as like opportunities, right? So it's pretty amazing that is one of the protagonists in your book. So thanks for
Exactly.
that. Yeah, and you said you had another um,
Yes.
sure.
The other entrepreneur that comes to mind is Henry K Gibras. He grew up in Brazil and his childhood was very entrepreneurial. He discovered entrepreneurship very, very early on. He knew that he wanted to be a founder. But the process that he went through wasn't a one-shot success.
Yeah.
When at 12 years old, he decided that he couldn't pay, he wanted to play a video game, but his parents said it was too expensive. So naturally, as a computer whiz, he created a server, he created a gameplay, and made a completely copied version of this premium version of a game and generate profit off of it. And then at 12 years old, he was sued by an international company because
Mm,
obviously you can't copy an entire video game
yeah.
and make money off of it. So after nearly getting into some legal trouble, he decided that entrepreneurship was for him and he wanted to take a step up and actually have a successful company.
Yeah.
So a few iterations later, he tried to make a program that tutors kids how to apply to the American schools. He tried he tried to create a dating app. None of those companies really worked, but he didn't get into legal trouble. So that was a step up for him. And he decided to apply to Stanford and to be an entrepreneur there because he realized that Brazil didn't provide him with the best opportunities to succeed as an entrepreneur. And he was always looking to achieve bigger and better things, which led him to come to Stanford. And then he realized that coming to Stanford, he couldn't be an entrepreneur because he didn't have the funding. No, with all immigrants, it's incredibly difficult to get credit cards or to create a bank account because you don't have the credit history. And especially with entrepreneurs who go to a new country for a better future, it's impossible. So he didn't see this as a problem or a roadblock for his success. He saw this as a perfect opportunity to create a company. So he did. He created a company called Brex, which is a microloan company that allows immigrants and young founders to apply for loans and then receive a loan to create their own companies. Within 2 years of his company starting, he achieved a market valuation of over $2 million, which is absolutely incredible. So it really comes to show how much your dedication and passion and determination pays off on the long run, should you not give up.
Definitely. I think one thing that resonates with something that I can say is similar for both of these amazing entrepreneurs is like they're just, as you mentioned, like there's this level of tenacity, right? And this like I need to make this possible. I need to make this work, and I'm guessing that your book actually showcases that it's not just about like being the smartest person in the room. It's about having the opportunity to actually say, okay, this is I'm gonna aim at this. I'm gonna focus, and I'm gonna make this work no matter what. Granted within legal boundaries.
Exactly.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, so my book is exploring a lot more stories on what it means, the tenacity, the passion that's really needed to be a successful entrepreneur, despite all the problems that we face, because there's a lot of, so I just read this last night, your vacuum at home is probably Dyson, and then it took James Dyson, the entrepreneur, 5,127 prototypes that didn't work for the 5,128th one to work. And now he's valued at over, I would say, $20 billion. So it really comes to show determination pays off.
Definitely. And I think also the way you talked about writing the book as well, correlates with what your protagonist within your book actually showcased in their lives, very young people as well. This podcast is about emerging markets, and something that I found compelling, and was really happy and grateful that you accepted this offer to come on the pod and talk about the book was, as you mentioned, Shadrach and Henrique, these immigrants, but also people from emerging markets that saw value on how to use opportunities that they might not have had in their home countries, but came here to better themselves and go back home, or do amazing stuff here in the country, in the United States. So I do like the fact that your book actually shows that diversity and kind of includes, and it's very inclusive, right, in your narrative. So it's such an interesting book. How will someone get your book? If you can just share with the audience where they can find your book, and I think I'll definitely share some links of the book in the pod, as well as when this gets online as well. But if there's any way you can talk about how people can get your book now.
So I am running a pre-sale campaign. So whoever's interested in kind of reading more of my book can order a pre-copy at the link that Jacob would share. Also, if you do order my book right now, I will be sharing pieces of my manuscript before it's printed with my pre-order audience to kind of share with you and hear your thoughts on my writing, and to incorporate your feedback before my book is printed. And kind of in return and sign of appreciation, your name would be in my book in the acknowledgement section.
That's amazing. I personally am excited about this book, like genuinely excited. Just the fact that learning about your story, but also the people that you reached out to get them as part of this book, and people that I've been fortunate to learn about from a distance, I found it very compelling. So I'm excited about it, and I think a lot of people listening to this pod, as well as some of the YouTubers who are on YouTube, hopefully listen to
Mm-hmm.
watch the video, will be really excited to support the book, but also actually learn from the book. So what's the last two questions here? What's your advice for someone who wants to write a book?
I definitely think it takes a lot of time, it takes a lot of heart, it takes a lot of passion. But if you can put aside maybe an hour or two a day, or even maybe 10 minutes, and you write and get your thoughts down, it can definitely trigger a very, very good habit because you always want to keep writing, you always want to craft your ideas down. And chances are, if you hit a roadblock one day, the next day you won't because you keep thinking about it and it's in your habit and it's in your routine. So writing a book isn't something you can do in a day. It takes a lot of planning, takes a lot of time. But if you have an idea and you put it in your schedule and you put it down, something you must do, you will do it.
Yep, that's awesome. I think the second question is similar to this question, but and I think I'll just kind of add a new question here. So what is the message? I know you have, I guess this book can be used, in schools to inspire, college students, grad students, even high school students, right, on how to see themselves as exceptional. But what do you think the message of the book will be moving forward? How do you hope to use this book as a vehicle? What do you think should be the message that people should get beyond just the stories that you've compiled?
So something that struck me as peculiar is that everyone in my university goes into in the corporate world, either to be a consultant or to be a financial counselor, to make money, to do good. But my friends have such ambitious passions. They're very, very talented. And I personally think it's a bit of a shame to see them locked up in a room for 12 hours a day in front of a computer for the next 2 to 5 years. So I wanted to explore an industry, so such as entrepreneurship, where you can both do well and do good. So I think the message of my book is that it is very possible for you to combine your personal passions and your professional aspirations to create a meaningful career that you can impact change.
I 100% agree with you. I think it's a lot of young, talented men and women that want to follow traditional path, maybe based on fear or just lack of, of a framework on how to navigate the world of entrepreneurship. And your book definitely can provide a glimpse of, inspiration, but also the call of action, right?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
And through your personal story, because I think from what people learn from this pod and hopefully get to know you more, is that you have taken that untraditional path, and hopefully that will be the cornerstone of your mission,
mm-hmm.
and the drive to call of action for people to become the best version of themselves through the lens of entrepreneurship and through the stories that they listen to your book. Congratulations! I'm really excited about the future of this of you, of what you're gonna do, the how this book is gonna transform people's lives,
Mm-hmm.
and how this book is gonna change the way we think about ourselves, and the role of entrepreneurship in school, in education, and in the United States and beyond. So, thank you so much for being on the pod. And
Thank you so much for having me. I greatly appreciate your time. I love your insights and I love this conversation, and I wish you the best.
thank you so much. And to all our audience or listeners, I'm going to include the links in all the various mediums, the medias that I share this video, as well as the audio. And you can also I'll also share her LinkedIn as well. So you can reach out to her as well if you want to support her. So thank you,
Thank you
and
so much.
bye.